Hi, it's Romy. Welcome to the channel, Cancer. This is your March 2021 soul story. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in Cancer, this is a general reading for the coming weeks, but hopefully some of the messages and insights might resonate for you and just help support you to navigate through what's coming up in March. So we're into Pisces season, which is an energy that really speaks your language, this water flow. And I feel that you're going to have an exceptionally determined heart this month. It's going to be speaking loudly to you. We open up your reading with the energy of the Magician. And there was a quote actually that I pulled out to share with you because it just felt really poignant for the influences around March for Cancer. And it is, I want to be unmovable like the mountains, yet always changing shape like the clouds. And on the days I can't decide, I choose both. I choose everything. That's by Sabina Laura, who you can find on Instagram. And that feels actually really in alignment with what the energy of the Magician is saying, because I think for Cancer this month, it really is about recognizing that you are your own miracle right now, and that this is a time as we are lighting up that ninth house energy of more expansion, where clarification, a deeper sense of knowing, purpose, and actually starting to formulate plans is really going to come more and more clear to you. I think you are developing through the course of this month a much greater understanding that where there are aspects of your life that you feel you're trying to control, it's really actually about a lesson in deeper self-trust. And part of that is a question I think that you need to be asking yourself around what a soulful life feels like for you, because the Magician is coming in with this beautiful alchemical energy, giving you the opportunity to manifest more quickly than you ever have before, to get a better handle on what you want to prioritize and to really start to experiment with different ways of working in your life, you know. So particularly in a time when we're going to be welcoming equinox later in the month, which is all about that reshift and the balance coming in, the Magician is saying in the first part of the month especially, take the time to connect to that Piscean energy and really start to reimagine, really start to connect with your higher self and understand where the clarity is coming with, and perhaps just take a little bit of time to sit with that before you make that move. Now, as we open up the month of March, Mars is moving into the sign of Gemini, and the energy of this means that communication is opening up. There's a lot more drive and initiative to get things done. Gemini, of course, for Cancer is that 12th house energy, so bringing in real psychic awareness, and coupled with the fact that we're in Pisces season, you are going to be absolutely on the money with things. And I think the Magician is really going to help you to be able to express and get that information out into the world where it needs to be understood, it needs to be heard, it needs to be seen. On the 7th of the month, Pallas Athena, the asteroid goddess, also the goddess of war, is entering Pisces. And so she's bringing this beautiful sense of mystical healing, of wisdom and intellect, but also compassion, 8 of Wands is bringing about a quickening of the energy. And what I want to say is that in that first part of March, between the 3rd and the 13th, as we build to this gorgeous new moon in Pisces, which is going to be trining with you, Cancer, so it's a beautiful placement for you that's going to deliver some blessings, that we really want you to be focused upon how you can invite in a little bit more of that magic into your world, remembering that you are your own miracle in this essence. It's such a gorgeous infusion of energies at the beginning of March. It will feel like a little bit more of a respite. Now, it doesn't take away the challenges, but when we have the skies and the stars kind of lighting up the path and clearing the path for us, it certainly makes it a lot easier for us to navigate and to deal with the things that we're being faced with at this moment in time. So Mercury moves into Pisces from the 15th, again making communication coming from a very heart-centered place. And like we said, your heart is very determined this month. So we've got the Page of Wands here. So there's a tremendous amount of open communication that I'm picking up. And I think that is about your desire to want to share new ideas, new approaches, new things that you're working on. It's an incredibly creative, collaborative time. And, you know, it's important that you harness that to be able to connect with your soul family, your network. So, you know, from a vocation, a career and business perspective, this is a tremendous time for you because, you know, in Pisces season with 9th house, then moving into 10th house as we go into Aries, it's all about the way that you can look at education, travel, knowledge, wisdom from the 9th house, but apply it to where it's going to progress you by way of your career, your legacy, the way you want to leave an imprint energetically. And even if you're not in work or looking for work, it's still about the way you want to move through the world and how you want to connect with people, you know? This inner clarity is being backed up, it's being validated, if you like, with a tremendous amount of synchronicity. So pay attention to that. By way of relationships, we're also seeing a much more open, honest opportunity to come in on a much more friendly kind of vibration. So if you've been experiencing some hostility, if Mercury retrograde really got things a little bit tangled for you by way of specific relationships in your life, then what we're also seeing with some of these guides coming through for you in the course of March, Cancer, is the opportunity to be able to have a bit of an olive branch coming out. And in some instances, it may be that you're the bigger person and takes that first step. Now, your Page of Wands could also be a fire sign you're dealing with, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. They seem to want to be offering something to you, or certainly have something to discuss, and there seems to be a little bit of an urgency around it. It's almost like, I want to do this and I want to do this now, or let's talk about it, let's get it going. And there is this wonderful sense of impetus, drive, motivation that's going to start to emerge for everybody, especially as we come into that equinox on the 20th and welcome the sun into Aries, which will give us all that burst of invigorated energy. Now, when equinox comes along and we're being invited to really readdress the balance in our life with a deep knowing and wisdom about what we've been working on in that deeper soul work and what we've come to understand about ourselves, it's exceptionally important that we really start to put into practice what we've gained, you know, and that 9th house really wants to take that higher wisdom and apply it and make sure that we're not making the same mistake twice, right? There's something about the energy. Just make sure you are not making the same mistake twice this month, Cancer. You know better. So where are you prioritizing and investing your energy? Because I think that there's an opportunity for something to open up really beautifully for you. But people also need to know about you. They need to hear about you. So where are you kind of still keeping yourself a little bit hidden? So whether this is professionally or personally, if you're wanting to connect with new people by way of work or friendships or romantically, there's something about the energy of March that's really coaxing you out from hiding. And, you know, it may be that you've gotten very used to just kind of being in that very closeted, kind of isolated hermit type mode, but there's something about preparing and readying yourself to start to communicate and just build it up gradually. It's not like you need to kind of traumatize yourself by going from 0 to hero overnight with things, but at the same time there is this genuine sense of, okay, now it's time to make progress and a really good forward movement in some area. Okay, so we also have Venus moving into the sign of Aries on the 21st, and again just bringing an awful lot of passion through and that beautiful fire energy to just get something started. And I think if many of you have been feeling, where do I find my mojo here, or how can I just get going or have the ability to be able to maintain or stick at something, again this beautiful sense of divine wisdom coming through that I think you're going to be gaining, especially from Pallas Athena. You know, like, work with that gorgeous goddess energy, you know, allow her to bring through her intellectual understanding, her, you know, beautiful healing and that direct source energy. What we are enjoying as we make our way to the end of March is a beautiful full moon in the sign of Libra, which is of course going to emphasize relationships, and it's also going to invite you to really consider what it is that you need to release and what it is that you need to let go of in order to find more harmony in your life. And so here we've got the Five of Pentacles, and I think it's really reflective of what has felt like a hardship. We've got to be really careful that, it's important to kind of express our stories and to understand that kind of context that they give us, because it's shaped us. When we go through challenge and difficulty, we draw upon that, because ultimately it's what gives us strength and kind of carves out that deeper sense of resiliency. But it's also very easy to become really tethered to that, to become defined by it. And I think that there's also a little bit of a reminder and a heads up through this month, Cancer, that you're not applying a story because you're sort of trying to express, well, this is my story, this is how difficult it's been for me, or this is how heartbroken I was, or this is how financially impacted I've been. And then it just becomes that kind of default energy for you, because the thing is, you're so much more than all of the things that are going on for you right now, and all of the things that you have experienced that make you you. You are, a soul here having a physical human experience, and we want you to progress, to learn, to develop, to expand. And that ninth house energy is a beautifully optimistic burst of vision and the opportunity to see things from a much, much higher perspective. And so we just need to be careful that we're not feeling that sense of restriction, and that somehow we're bound in a chapter or a storyline, because it's in a way, sometimes we've had to do soul work. We've had to tend to some aspect of ourselves by way of healing or by way of nurturing, to kind of work through a wound or work through something. But there's also then a moment where we need to draw a line. We need to make peace. We need to find acceptance so that we can allow some of the new energy to come through. And I think that the equinox is really going to highlight that for you. It can sometimes also be a little bit upheavaling when we have those profound shifts in kind of universal energy. And so you may just feel a little bit of a wobble through the course of that time, remembering some of that nebulous energy of Pisces as well can bring a little bit of self-doubt, a little bit of disillusionment to the current experiences that you're having. But don't get caught up in that. You have to keep reminding yourself and staying really strong. You are your own miracle, and it is your determined heart that is really going to speak volumes. I guess the other thing I want to say right now about this is, how do you measure success? With a lot of emphasis in around what you're doing by way of your life purpose, your career, your vocation through the course of March and April, Cancer. I think it's an opportunity for you to really define that, redefine it in a way that it represents what your soulful life looks like, because that might absolutely change how you feel about the way that certain things are going or where you find yourself. You'll put less emphasis perhaps on certain aspects of, what's been happening or what's going on around you. That attitude shift is really going to bring about a breakthrough for you. So I would invite you to consider that, especially around the new moon when you're setting some beautiful intentions. It's a really magical time, that first part of March. And then as you work toward the end with the full moon, you're going to know what it is that you need to release by way of old storylines. That's going to be really important, okay? I think there's also this aspect of you needing to forge ahead and keep going, which means that there may be some people that are feeling a little bit outside or kind of left behind. And, if that is the case, just be careful that you don't kind of get over nurturing and move into that caretaker role that you're so good at, Cancer, because it's to the detriment of what you need to achieve and what you need to get done for yourself through the course of this month, okay? If you are the one that's feeling that somehow you have been ostracized or pushed out, or there is an aspect of feeling like there is a tremendous sense of hardship around you at the moment, that magician guide is coming in really powerfully to say, you know what, we have everything that we need to make changes, but we have to keep experimenting to make the adjustments, okay? And again, equinox is really going to help you. So the rituals that you use around that time to decide on what needs to change and what plans you're going to put in place to start to take those steps is going to be really meaningful to you. And I think it's okay to sit with the clarity until it becomes really solid and you become really centered and anchored to it, before you start to share that with others. I mean, your Hanged Man energy is suggestive of that beautiful spiritual divine connection that's coming in. You might feel that little bit of a sense of I'm stuck, or I'm not sure which direction, or what do I do now? Where do I go with this? There's a little bit of that energy coming through, and perhaps some of you being hit harder than you would like to with some aspect of an outside decision or an outside influence coming in. But again, you're being invited to look at this from a different approach, okay? She looks beautiful. She looks strong, right? This is like the energy of someone who is flexible and can hold himself in an energy that understands everything that's going on, the river that's flowing beneath, and just let things move through. The aspect of divine timing is really important. Your divine wisdom is really going to support you in making sure that you don't make decisions that are going to be costly for you, right? And I think there's something about that. There may be some moments through the course of this month, Cancer, where you're being backed into a corner, or you feel like you have to make a decision that there may be a higher cost than what you are prepared to pay for by way of an investment or on an emotional level. But I think that Spirit are stepping in. You're getting really strong intuitive guidance to say yes or no, or to move you in the right way. It's your determined heart that's going to make the difference. But that's why it's so important for us to also really consider what your soulful life looks like, again, so that you're making decisions that are going to be right for you. Again, your Five of Swords coming in. I mean, the energy of these fives coming through for you are about the contrast. And, we understand that sometimes, for things to feel really real and for us to get meaningful growth within our soul journey, it's not going to come from a place of comfort. But that's so much actually what we've been through. And in some ways, your divine wisdom has actually come from the experiences that have shaped you over the last few weeks and months. So don't let any setbacks stop you, okay? Don't let one setback stop the progress that's happening in so many other areas of your life. Back to what I said about understanding that you may be trying to control some aspect of your life, but really that this is an invitation from Spirit about gaining a deeper sense of self-trust. And again, remember that quote, some days you'll want to be unmovable like the mountains, and other times you're going to need to shape-shift and be mutable and changing like the clouds. And the more you can be adaptable and resourceful through this month, that tailwind is really going to support you. It's very much about mindset for you this month, Cancer. I think you can make tremendous progress in a lot of different ways, but it is going to come down and be very determined by what it is that you want to see for yourself. You can look at things and say, okay, this is coming up as a brick wall or as a dead end, and there's an invitation with that magician guiding you to say, well, to hell with that, I'm just going to find a different way. And that's what we need from you, and that is going to pay dividends in a tremendous sense for being able to validate that actually you are on the right path and you are on the right track, okay? Sometimes when we hit those obstacles, we start to doubt and we think, oh wow, did I get it wrong? Did my intuition, lead me off blindly in the wrong direction? But actually, sometimes we need to go down those dead ends because they're so valuable. They show us sometimes what we don't want, or they kind of put us in a holding pattern so something else can fall into place. There are unseen aspects that are being woven, knitted into your pathway just now that you might not be fully aware of. Four of Wands is bringing that balance in, it's giving that support for you. It's bringing the sense of making you feel safe and secure, it's that home environment, but it starts from within the self. So the more secure you feel on an emotional level, regardless of what you might be experiencing or bumping up against around you, the more things are going to start to come in to validate that experience for you. I absolutely promise you. So there might be some changes or shifts or decisions, conversations that are happening for you about moving or changing your space in some way. That might be really important just to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, a bit more safe, and especially as we come into that full moon in Libra, we want to surround ourselves with beautiful things that represent our energy, who we are, what our soulful life looks like. And that's going to make us feel more empowered and more inspired. There's a beautiful creative artistic flow to the whole month of March that can weave beautifully lyrically into the conversations that you have with relationships, with partners, but most importantly with yourself. And I think that's where you're really going to make the headway and start to feel the balance. It's so important. Okay, energy of judgment coming in, because there is a beautiful release that comes, I feel, once you give yourself permission to let go. What is it you need to let go of? You might find yourself, embarking on a completely new chapter. You might be considering a huge change in direction, or coming to peace with the knowing that something is coming to an end or point of closure. And so whatever it is that's going on that has the sense of weightiness, that it's like, wow, this is really going to impact my life. And, for some of you that might be very self-directed, and for others it might be happening to you and you feel a little bit less in control than you would like to be. But ultimately, the energy of judgment is about this beautiful sense of rebirth. You can see the feather that's being held here, beautiful sign by Spirit to say, listen, all is well. Everything is happening in a divine time at this moment. And it's important that the way that you address yourself all the way through this month of March is in the most positive, optimistic, encouraging, supportive narrative, okay? This is not a time to get into that self-criticism or inner judgment, okay? You will be making important decisions by the end of this month, and they're going to have a material impact on your life, Cancer, and you want to get it right because you don't want to make a costly mistake, okay? Relationships will be getting to the stage that they need to for the evolution of where you are on your soul journey right now. Open, honest communication is absolutely vital so that you don't cast up or feel like you are caught up in a repeated pattern of something. And that's in all aspects of relationships, okay? We're not just talking about romantic. So pay attention to where you're feeling triggered through the month, and that's when you're really going to start to see where there's beautiful healing opportunity that's going to come through. There's something about realigning with the most beautiful dream that I think you've had for a long time. I feel like it's a returning energy, perhaps something that's come up through the retrograde period. We've still got a little shadow of that at the beginning of March as well. So where you're feeling really inspired, please follow that through. There's so much more that's getting added to it. And I feel like this rising excitement that's coming in as well. Don't feel like it's not possible. Don't look at the limitations or restrictions around you. This is time to dream bigger and brighter and bolder and to imagine. It's that 9th house energy that says, we can do this and we can go big with it. It's a beautiful time if any of you are looking professionally to get things moving, started and initiated, especially in that Aries season. So, keep a close eye on what the trends are, what's going on, what your industry is doing. And even against the backdrop of challenge, there are things that are starting to come up. If you find yourself out of work or unable to progress in a certain way, then start to feel innovative about ideas of what you could start yourself. There's a beautiful entrepreneurial spirit that is emerging for many of you, finally having the opportunity to perhaps follow a lifelong dream. For others, there might be this swift change in direction, but it also gives the opportunity to try something completely different. So be experimental and don't let any fear take hold, okay? This is about you being your own miracle. So your oracle card, we've got 2 here. Okay, let's take them. Take a chance on love. When we love, our lives are changed forever. And choose love. You always have a choice. Make yours with love. Okay. Well, first of all, we know that there's going to be major choices and decisions that are coming in with that energy of judgment. And make sure that you are coming at this with your beautiful, determined heart. That's what's going to make all the difference. What do you want, Cancer, for yourself? Not just now, not just meeting the energy in this moment, but tomorrow, next week, a year from now. How do you want your life to be? This is the time to really set that out and to take a chance on love. Maybe we have to take a risk. First of all, we have to bet on ourselves. We have to know that we're worthy of that which we seek, you know. They're taking a journey here in the boat. So perhaps, you know, if you're in relationships right now or seeking a relationship, there's still a little bit of a journey to get to where your heart desire really is going to be illuminated in the way that you want it. But understand that everything is in a period of beautiful flux and transition right now. And with that Pisces energy, there's the ability to be able to have deeper emotional intimacy and connection than you've had for a while, with the stars that are conducive to a little bit more of a balanced energy. So take advantage of that. Take a chance on love, knowing that you are worthy and that that love innately comes from within you and is completely unconditional. And when you get yourself set on that vibration, then it can be emulated by the people that surround you as well. Okay, all paths lead home. Inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. I really feel through the course of this month the clarification, the knowing, the deep sense of purpose is coming up really strongly for you, Cancer. Like I said, that time between the 7th and the 13th of the month, pay really close attention to what signs are coming through for you. Know that you are moving in rhythm with the energy. And so if there are things that feel like they're pulling you off in a different direction, pay attention, because there's something of value to be gained in that moment, okay? For me, again, this also reminds me very much of the sacred energy of the equinox that's coming in on the 20th. So if you can understand the messages and really take time meditatively to tune in during that part of March, I think it's going to be significant in what it's showing you about how you readdress something in your life. And remember, like I said, don't let one setback stop the overall momentum and progress that is happening in your life. The infusion of energies that are working with you, not against you, is profound. Just keep that in mind, okay? This is a general reading. I hope you've enjoyed listening, Cancer. If you'd like to join me for the extended, what we're going to do is go ahead and pull some additional clarification cards. I'm just going to invite you to think about a question that might not have come up in the main part of the reading first and foremost. We'll pull you a couple of cards for that question and cover them off in the extended reading. You can find the link for that in the description box underneath in the comment section, and it's just a way to support my channel, and just like to thank you in advance for those of you that like to join me. And then just clarifying this main reading, starting with the Magician. So we have the Two of Acorns. Acorns is representative of fire, so Two of Wands. Beautiful sense of strategy coming in here. And then Eight of Wands again coming in. So lots of news, communication, wanting to make itself known. Knight of Crystals, which is the Knight of Pentacles. There's definite advancement and gain for some of you by way of work opportunities. Emperor coming through here. And the Queen of Coins, Queen of Crystals, lovely. Ace of Cups. Overall, the energies for March have, been coming through much more positive and progressive for all of the signs, which is just beautiful. The energy of the Empress coming in here as well. Important to keep nurturing yourself and your space, but drawing that sense of abundance towards you. We have Six of Pentacles coming in again. Very much about this balance of energy. That's what impacts the old money story as well. Okay, so we've got Five of Wands here. Another Page of Wands coming in. Okay, so Five of Cups coming through. And what's that one? Five of Pentacles, okay. Quite a few fives coming up, so we know that not everything is straightforward through this month, but there is a sense of this divine wisdom. Again, the Hierophant coming in. Something important you're going to learn from the experience, and you would look back and not change it. That's what I feel, okay? Judgment again, wow, okay. Big decisions on the horizon. Very synchronistic, fated month is March, so I'm not surprised that the wheel is showing up. Nine of Cups. of Wands. You've got a lot of fire energy coming in, so maybe you are dealing with a fire sign, Cancer, or they're going to be relevant, or certainly someone who's expressing themselves in that way. Sun coming through here. Also got the King of Swords in relation to that Judgment card. Ten of Wands. You really might be feeling the weight of that impending decision. Perhaps a decision that is out of your control as well. Might be an experience for some of you. We'll look into that a little bit more in the extended. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much, Cancer. I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings for this month of March. And thanks for tuning in. Take good care. Bye for now.